Good afternoon. Welcome to this edition of NMH at 1. My name is Taiwan Jabela, your host for today. I'll be back. Welcome back. It's Friday. We are a bit relaxed. We are a bit excited, of course, after a long week. But let's quickly, today, as a matter of fact, is the World Environment Day, and our colleague, Francois Steinberg, today had a conversation with Romeo Muyunda, who is the spokesperson of the Ministry of Environment and Tourism, speaking about the day. Let's watch.
Welcome to Mr. Romeo Muyunda, the spokesperson of the Ministry of the Environment, Forestry and Tourism. Good day, Romeo. Welcome here.
Thank you very much. Good day to the listeners as well.
It's your first time in our studio.
Yes, it's the first time. Really impressive.
Yeah. It's great to have you here today on World Environment Day.
Yes, it's great to be here.
Romeo, why do we celebrate World Environment Day?
Okay, thank you. In 1972, the National Assembly of the United Nations, the General Assembly of the United Nations, developed or established World Environment Day to be commemorated on every 5th of June every year. And of course, the day was established to raise awareness on environmental issues. And as you may know, Namibia is a member state of the United Nations. And of course, that qualifies us to celebrate World Environment Day.
Romeo, Namibia is also a world leader in environmental issues.
Yes, we are fortunate enough that we have environmental protection in our constitution. I think we are one of the few countries with such a provision.
Yeah.
And of course, like you have said, our policies, our legislation, they are all geared towards sustainable development, which means that whenever we engage in any developmental activities, the environment must be considered. I think that is one of the reasons why Namibia's environment remains intact, and also we have lovely people in Namibia. They care for the environment, and I'm sure today on World Environment Day, people are going to go out there and just appreciate what we have.
What is very important in our country is that the communities should benefit from the environment.
Yes, which is, like I've said, a constitutional provision.
Yeah.
Our environment should give us the natural resources. Actually, our biodiversity is just so huge.
Yeah.
And our natural resources are in abundance. We're talking about a lot of wildlife species, attracting a lot of tourists to this country. And all of this, we have now also, as of 1996, if you remember, we have established conservancies.
Yes.
So we have a number of institutions, we have our national parks, we have a number of institutions that are involved in the protection of our biodiversity and the environment. And the people are key to this protection. And also, like you have mentioned, it is very important that not only do we protect and protect, it is important that the people that are protecting these natural resources also benefit.
Yes. Romeo, although we are a world leader, we have our challenges. What are our challenges?
Yes, we have plenty of challenges, I think, as a country. On top of my head, I can think about pollution of different aspects. Air pollution, for example. Water pollution is one of them. I think the most disturbing pollution that we are facing is ground pollution in terms of litter and other chemical substances. So that is one of the challenges. Apart from that, we have a few more challenges, people not adhering to the provisions of the Environmental Management Act. We have things like mining, for example.
Yeah.
We have seen sand mining of recent, increasing more and more, even going to rural areas where most of most vulnerable people live. And so these are some of those challenges that we are facing. Deforestation, cutting
Also
down.
a big challenge.
Also a big challenge,
Yeah.
cutting down trees and so on and so on. But all in all, I think as a country, we still have a chance if we really just address some of these few challenges.
One of our biggest, according to me, biggest challenges, poaching of our rhinos and our elephants. Just the past 2 weeks, I know of 4 rhino carcasses that were discovered. And there are many cases in court now.
Yes, you are right. That is one of our biggest challenge, not only as the ministry, but also the entire country. We know that the high-valued species, rhinos and elephants, especially rhinos, are endangered in this country. And Namibia has the biggest population of black rhinos,
Yeah.
which is something...
Free-roaming black
yes,
rhinos.
free
We are so
roaming.
blessed.
Yes, which is something that is putting us as on a map out there, so
Of
that
course.
our tourists can come and see the things. But unfortunately, we have people that are greediness, people that are selfish, that are really poaching the things. And I must say, it is a serious concern, but this year we are faring very well. It looks like we are going to reduce it, but let's wait and see. The ministry, together with relevant authorities, the uniformed forces, we are working tirelessly to ensure that...
And they are doing a great job.
They are doing a great job.
Last week arrested 11 suspects in rhino poaching
in rhino
only.
poaching, yes,
Yeah.
imagine that. And these arrests are continuing countrywide.
Yes.
And if you remember, we arrested 16 in total, also elephants.
That's correct.
Also involved. So we continue with the arrests, and we really appreciate the efforts that have been made by the anti-poaching unit together with our staff members.
Romeo, as citizens of Namibia, what do you encourage us to do to protect the environment? Like plant more trees?
Yeah, I will start with the most simplest one. I think most people would want to go to a nearby shop and still drive. Why would you drive if you can walk?
Yeah, or cycle.
Yes, or cycle, so that you don't emit any more of gas into the environment that will cause climate change. Apart from that, to the businesses, especially the corporates, people that are involved in bigger projects such as mining and infrastructure development, we just want to encourage them to, number one, to adhere to the provisions of the Environmental Management Act. The other thing is also for them to invest in mitigating the impact of their systems and processes to the environment. A lot of people, a lot of companies, or some companies rather, they do not have environmental protection in their social corporate responsibility.
And they should.
And they should. So we are really encouraging them to have social corporate responsibility to our environment. And in terms of us as individuals and communities, let's look at issues such as overstocking. I know Namibians, we like our cattle.
Yeah,
and if we overstock, and then the what suffers is the environment. And when the vegetation is gone, the land is left bare, and erosion can take place, taking out the most important nutrients that makes our land fertile. So it is simple things like that. Let's grow more trees than we cut. We know a lot of people want to come up with plowing and fields and so on and so on. But for as much as we encourage people to go out there and make sure that they get things for themselves in terms of their livelihood. But
Thank you, Romeo.
Yes.
So let's keep our country clean.
Yes.
keep our
Yes.
environment, beware our environment,
Yes, let's keep our country clean
and go
all the
green.
time. Yes, let's go green.
Thank you so much, Romeo.
Thank you for having me.
That was Romeo Muyunda, the Public Relations Officer of the Ministry of Environment and Tourism, speaking to our colleague Francois Steinberg there on World Environment Day, which is commemorated today globally. Now, our next news item, of course, is our usual insert of the situation of COVID-19 in the country. As you can see, by Wednesday this week, Namibia has tested more than 4,000 individuals for COVID-19. The average for the last 7 days, including 3 June, was 120 people per day, while the average since 14 March now stands at 49 persons per day. Of course, also in terms of quarantine, the official quarantine data for Wednesday shows that 28 new individuals started their 14-day mandatory observation after returning to the country from elsewhere in the world. And individuals, 18 of them, 18 new individuals were released from quarantine. By yesterday, almost 2,500 people have been quarantined since the lockdown started. Moving on to more hard news now. We look at the headlines in today's daily newspapers. Of course, we start with our own publications here at Namibia Media Holdings. Republican there in the middle, showing, of course, the focus of all papers today essentially is yesterday's State of the Nation address by President Hage Geingob, with Republican specifically going with the angle of SWAPO's expensive new headquarters as a subject of discussion yesterday in Parliament, and how the president's lawyers have advised him not to discuss the Fish Road scandal, a sentiment echoed also by us at Namibian Sun, that of course the president said his former ministers who are in jail at the moment over the Fish Road scandal must prove their innocence on their own and not expect his intervention as the head of executive. Allgemeine Zeitung, our German daily here, also talking about SONA, saying that due to many interruptions by opposition parties, the president yesterday threatened to end his address. With this, the ruling party got its first taste of what to expect after losing its 2/3 majority last year. This is going to be an interesting parliament, the AZ predicts. Of course, then the second slide there is of New Era and the Namibian. The sentiments are echoed on the front page of the Namibian there, that reported that the president was forced to take a seat several times after the opposition members objected against issues he addressed. New Era, on the other hand, reports that the presidency has made significant accomplishments in the fight against corruption and reducing public expenditure, with promises to address the housing backlog. We now look at the inside of the papers. Inside the dailies, the Namibian Sun, Elani Smith reporting on drug repossessions by police worth 3.4 million, along with nearly 160 arrests of drug-related charges in May alone, while the Namibian carries a report on how mayhem has resulted or returned in the country after the opening of the lifting of the ban of alcohol sales. By Thursday, 6 cases of assault and attempted murder had already been laid with police in Windhoek alone. New Era reports on how government is working on modalities to reopen borders post-lockdown. So that is our dailies, the front pages, and a few snippets from inside those papers. We'll go for a commercial break and return. Now, today, our colleague here at Namibia Media Holdings, Yolanda Nell, who works for the Windhoek Express publication, had a chat with Juandri Statler about who Ms. Statler is a dietitian, and they were speaking about simple methods to stay in shape post-lockdown, and also with winter coming up, of course. So let's have a look.
So with regards to the lockdown, a lot of us have gained a little bit more weight, and especially with the winter coming, how can we regulate our health in this time?
Okay, so it is important to remember to stick to practical guidelines, to see how you've been eating before the lockdown, and to try or to make sure the bad habits that you have gained during the lockdown, and to try and make sure that you get a routine and try and get gradually working out or gradually moving out with the bad habits that you've gained during lockdown. Look at your budget, all right? Make sure that you don't try and buy foods that you've never eaten before, but try and make the habits that you had, try and come back to them and maybe make it healthier, improve. Use the foods that you have available in your house. Try and incorporate it in a practical way so mom and dad and all the kids can eat together so that you don't have to make separate meals. Keep it simple, okay? Stick to healthier snacks. Try to snack in between meals, and that will also prevent you from not having too big portions at meals. Drink more water and just start to walk. You don't have to incorporate in heavy exercises. You find lots of stuff on the internet as well that can help you try and involve the whole family, not just the mom or the dad and the kids, but start walking. It's cheap, it's effective, and it's not so strenuous on the knees.
Okay, thank you very much.
That was Juandri Statler speaking to our colleague Yolanda Nell about what needs to happen post-lockdown, and especially during winter, which has essentially kicked off. We move on to the north, where our correspondent Eleni Nanjato spoke to Lempi Kamati, the project manager of Elsin Rehabilitation Center at Onipa, which is the only Braille printing center in northern Namibia. This center provides services to the whole country.
Elsin Rehabilitation Center, it is the only center which can give the Braille service here at the north. We have school like Erua Special School, or the textbook from Erua, they have to send it here. We have Gabriel Tapopi, it's also accommodating learners with disability, they have to send it here. We have people in the community, they have to send their materials here. Again, we have learners who are studying with NAMCOL. NAMCOL again have to send their material here. We have another school like one school which is called the Roman Kampungu is a secondary school in Irundu. They also sending their materials here. We also have our students at University of Namibia. The University of Namibia also have to send the material to be provided here. It is very much in demand. Challenge at the printing, we have a lot of machine there. That machine, some of them we bought them outside of the country. Some of them we receive donors, a special Most of them we get them from Millennium Challenge it was in 2004. And those machines, when they are broken, or when we need to send them at the service, we have to send them at South Africa, because here in Namibia we don't have any person who can repair that machine. Yeah, even the paper itself, the one we use on operating the braille, you cannot find that paper in Namibia. We have to order that paper at South Africa, where we have to pay for the papers, the transport, and others. And that one will be too costly for us.
Now it's Friday. We are all excited. It's a very celebratory day for so many reasons, but we move on to entertainment now. What has been happening locally. So today's Republican. If you grab yourself a copy of the Republican, you'll see a guest writer there, Christian Creer, chronicling her 2 weeks in quarantine following her recent return from the United States, while New Era is featuring Afrikaans rapper Itcha in their entertainment pages. But the good news, we are very, very excited here at Namibian Sun that tonight at 7 o'clock we are launching our chill sessions hosted by Namibian Sun's Michael Kayunde and our colleague Esther Kamati. And it's featuring Namibia's hottest YouTube hits. Directly after that, on the Chill Facebook page, follows Chill TV. It's our new 24-hour music channel, mainly featuring local music. A very, very progressive and very entertaining development as far as Namibian Sun Entertainment is concerned. So we can't wait for 7 o'clock tonight to see the launch of this new 24-hour channel. That should be it for tonight, but before that, let's look at the weather.